Hey, Divi Nation, thanks for stopping by our documentation to learn all about Divi's post slider module. So this is a great way of displaying your blog post in a slider format. So anytime that you've got content, whether it's on your blog page or on another part of your website that you want to feature, the slider is a perfect option to do that. So not only do we allow you to create that format of content display, but we also allow you a lot of customization features as well through our design tab. So we're going to show you how to create sliders with your blog post and how to customize them in this video. Check it out.
In this video, I'm going to give an overview of Divi's post slider module. The post slider module is a convenient way to showcase featured posts in a slider for your website. The post slider automatically will pull those post excerpts from your blog along with its featured image to generate a slider in just a few seconds. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the post slider module. As you can see, I'm using the visual builder and I'm editing a blog page. And at the top of my blog page here, I've got a post slider here, generating my recent posts and displaying them at the top of my blog page, which is one of the common ways of using a post slider to kind of give the users a taste of what's the most important blog post maybe at the top of your page. All right, so let's take a closer look at the settings. In fact, to do so, I'm going to erase the one I have currently, and we're going to build it together just to show you how quick and easy it is. So here at the top of my page, I have a regular section and I have a one column row. And in that one column row, I'm simply going to add in my post slider module. Once I select it, you'll see that automatically some stuff will pop up because it's doing a lot of things. It's pulling in my most recent posts in order of new to old. It's pulling the title of my blog post. It's pulling in the metadata, and it's pulling in the excerpt and also a read more button that will link to that post. It will also come with these, helpful navigation arrows that I can scroll through my slider, along with these navigation dots here at the bottom to go to an individual one as well. Over in my content tab, I have other customizations I can make to my post slider. The first one I see is post number. If I don't want to showcase all of them by default, maybe I just want to add, my top 3 most recent ones. I could do that. I can also include only a certain category in my slider. So if I have a website and I'm only going to showcase maybe the travel, maybe you have a travel blog and you only want to showcase the category of travel, you can do that here. You can change the order by option here. By default it's new to old. You can change that. You can even change it in alphabetically by title or give it a random order. The button text automatically will say read more. You can change that to whatever you want. The content display by default will show the excerpt. If not, it will you can show the full content of the post. Just be careful with that. If you have a lot of content on your post, it will create a really long slide. Continuing on, under the elements section, we have the option of customizing all these little individual elements of the slider. For example, the option to show or not to show the arrows, or the controls down here at the bottom, the little dots. I can hide the read more button, which I can still link to it from the title of the post if I wanted to. And then I can hide the metadata right under the title there if I wanted to. And then for the featured image section here, you have the option of showing or hiding your featured image. Right now it is showing the featured image of the post. So the post, this post titled Photo Power, the Ultimate Success Formula, has a featured image, and that featured image is being displayed as a background of the slider by default. Now I can change that and take away the featured image display, and it will pull in whatever I have set as my background for the module. So if I wanted to, I could have one background that will stand in for all of my slides. And so really all you would be seeing is the content change on top of my background as I slide through, the posts. So that's a good option. So I could, if I wanted to add a background image here, let's say I wanted to choose this one, for example. And so if I click on to go to my next slide, you'll see that background stays the same, even though the slide content changes. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's go back and put our default of showing the featured image. All right, continuing on. Let's go to our design tab. In our design tab, we have a lot more options of customizing, the text and the colors and all that. For instance, there's a layout to show the inner shadow, which is, helpful if you have like a colored background or whatever. The overlay section, I could choose to use a background overlay for my slider. Let's say I had a lighter slider and I needed it to make it darker. I could do that here. It will by default give you a slight background overlay, but I could choose to hide it, or disable it. And as you can see, my image is a lot lighter. The text doesn't pop out as much, so keeping it is a good idea. I could also change the background overlay color to match the design of my site. Maybe I wanted it to be yellow. I would have to turn down the opacity there a little bit. I could also make it blue. Just add some, further color styles to my blog. Text overlay is a good option. In fact, it gives you a nice overlay. Let's say if I wanted to, keep the original color of my background, but I wanted to make my text pop a little bit better, I can add that overlay. Maybe give it like a light gray or something, a background overlay, and then go back and change my text color to dark. You can see that gives us a whole new design in just a few clicks. Let's go back and let's go ahead and disable this text overlay for now. Go back to the default. All right, so navigation. This controls the arrows here that pop up and my dot navigation here at the bottom of my slider. This allows me to change the colors of those if I wanted to. Under the text section, of course, you have the option of choosing a light text or a dark. By default, it goes light because it is assuming that you're using a featured image as a background with an overlay. The text orientation is by default centered, but of course you can change that. Header text, you have your normal customizations to customize your text here for the header. We can change it. Let's just choose Montserrat for now. And I like the way that looks. Maybe change my header font size to, let's do 60. And I want to keep my header text color white, and I'll keep the letter spacing and the line height the same, my defaults. And then the body text, that's this text down here of your excerpt. You can change that as well. I like the default. Maybe I'll change the body font to match my header. And it looks a little crowded next to my metadata, so my next section allows me to customize my meta text. And don't forget, you can hide it altogether. Let's see. Let's go ahead and make my font match the rest. I like the color of it, but I do want to get a little bit more spacing, so maybe I increase the line height a little bit. Let's increase it to 2 there. And then the button I can customize. You always have a lot of options here to customize your button however you want. So feel free to make your custom button there for your slider. And this will of course change the design of all of your posts as well. Button alignment can be changed. Also the sizing of the module. If I want to change that, I can do that here. I can add more spacing to it by increasing the margins on the outside or the padding within. I could add an animation to my slider if I wanted to. And this animation, of course, will take place on load or when you scroll to this slider on the page. Different from the animation of the fading in and out of the slides as you go through. And the last tab here is your advanced tab. This is where you can add your unique CSS IDs and classes to target this module from an external style sheet. You can also add inline CSS to any of the elements within the module here. All right, you also have the option of setting your button relationship option here for your slider button. Also, you have the option of changing some of these changing the visibility, of some of these elements on certain devices. For instance, I could choose to not show my content on mobile devices. Just so we can see, so if I set it to no and I toggle my mobile device here, you can see, there we go. So on mobile now I don't have the content, just the title. Let's go ahead and add it back in. And then let's choose not to show the button here on mobile. Get rid of that. Also, to show the image on mobile, I can choose not to do that. I don't actually have an image here set because I'm using the featured image as my background. But if I had an image inline, just to go ahead and show you what that's like. Let's go back to my content, and under featured image, if I said, for instance, left. And so now we're pulling the background that we have set for our module here, which is default, this blue, this coming from my theme customizer options. And then it's putting the featured image instead of as a background, it's putting it off to the left. And so now that this image is off to the left, if I go back to my advanced tab under visibility, where it says show image on mobile, then if I say no, and then I go back to my mobile, you can see that that image now has disappeared. If I add it in, it's going to just put it up at the top on mobile. All right, so great options to customize your slider on mobile devices. And of course, you can always disable them on phone, tablet, and desktop. And there you go. There's your overview of the post slider module.